set up this morning that I had it. So welcome everyone, and this is Twink, and Twink has two little spots along her stripe along the back. Oh, of course, the mom was calling them over. And we have Dick, and we have Max. I tell you, it's been a busy week here on the farm because Ninja, the mom, she's just around the corner here. Hello, Ninja. Doesn't really have milk. Now, I'm wondering is maybe that she had them early and that she'll actually come into milk when it's her time. The body might kick in. I have a funny feeling that's what's going to happen. So, and there's Maxie here. So I've been feeding these with the bottle, and I should have brought a bottle down, but they had two this morning. They'll have one later on. Again, you don't want to be, as I say, you don't want to be filling them too much, but little bits at a time are very good. And we had a big emergency with Jessie. Jessie was really ill. Something really to do with her gut. So she's coming around a little bit. She's not 100% yet. But, oh yes, she's not 100%, but she is coming around and she is eating. And that eating helps everything along the way. It makes makes things, once her system is going, you're not so worried. Yes, I combed my hair, and as a family tradition, every Saturday, Mom used to coat our hair in olive oil. And actually, growing up, I didn't realise that people used olive oil for cooking. I always thought it was for your hair. So I went to a friend's house one time. I was about 19, 20, I'd say. And oh my God, she started putting olive oil in the pan, and I just started laughing. It was like somebody going to fry something in shampoo, basically. It was very. But I got to thinking, there was one Easter many years ago, 40-something years ago, 47, I suppose, or whatever. I was about 13, and I had heard my sister's friend talking about putting a little bit of baby oil on your face to make it look nice, and this had always stayed with me. So this had always stayed with me, and there was one Saturday I was allowed to hitch into Carsavine, pick out my Easter egg, get my Easter egg, and hitch back home with my sister. So I went to town. Can you imagine it? Sure, they're nearly 27 now before they're left to do anything on their own. So I hitched into Carsavine. I had some spending money, and I went straight into the chemist and bought a bottle of baby oil, and I just soaked my skin. It was just dripping off. I often think of it, walking around Carsavine, going into shops and just dripping oil. I was like a badly cooked burger or a chicken nugget or something. And when I met my sister, she was like, "Are you sick?" And I said, "No." And just this, you could put your finger through it and all the oil. What about that? We'll stay inside now for a minute. Twink is getting very boisterous. Yes, so last night then, it's great actually having the shed and using pallets as building blocks and these white sheets, plastic sheets, because it's kind of like Meccano. You can swap around. What was once a gate keeping everybody in is now a wall keeping two goats separate. And there's 4, if not 6, there's 4 goats going to kid very soon. And they'll be all coming in and joining the herd here, and we'll have one herd then. And there's 2 older goats who are beautiful, Sooty and Honey. And I think they are in kid, but it might be a little bit later on, maybe May that way. So we were all in last night anyway. All the kitties, all the sickies, all the mammies, and all the mammies to be. That's right. Oh. So, my story this week, I'm doing this class about heritage and culture in childcare. And it's fantastic because I am able to give my part of the course, and then this wonderful woman, Marion O'Neill, translates that into childcare and makes it applicable. So I don't have to worry, like I do have to worry what I'm saying, but it's not, um, it's almost like I'm saying it in my language and it's being translated then by somebody else, and it's just perfect. And I think the students are enjoying it. So I was telling them all about Sean O'Connell, our local Shanachie, who I think he died 90 years ago. And he lived to be a very good age. So it's I think it's, anyway, I'm no good at dates or times or anything like that. But he was a wonderful storyteller out in Keelreelig. And we have the Keelreelig Arts Centre out there, and Artist Retreat as well. But he was a wonderful storyteller. And this man came down from Dublin, Seamus de Larga. And he wrote down all Sean O'Connell stories. Well, a lot of them anyway. So we're very lucky to have them in a book. And I'm often reading them. There's some very long ones, and there's some nice short ones as well. And the poor man on Farbocht, vi Bron Moorer, he was very sad because he was starting to forget the stories, and there was nobody that interested in taking up the art of storytelling or learning the stories from him. So he was always very upset. And even some of the stories he started telling your man, he couldn't finish, he couldn't remember them. But then along came me. So I'm telling his stories now, and I'm finishing his stories for him, and it's very beautiful. And I hope wherever he is, he's looking down and very satisfied that I'm doing that. And this story is all about one of the first. She's much better, Valerie. She's much better. I'll show you now in a minute. She's still a bit sleepy, a bit dozy, but she's eating hay, which is great. And she drank some water this morning, and I milked her as well. And that made a big difference. You know, that's just a normal. But I had her out for a bit, but I said, you know, I'll bring her into the warmth again and just that bit of shelter. Because today, it's a nice day, but there's showers there as well. And to get them caught, even if these little creatures got caught in the shower. I couldn't live with myself. I could not then. But the story is all about one of the first monks that came to Kerry. He came out to Ballinskelligs and he built a small little church. And he was there, it was the new religion, and everybody was very excited about this, and people would go on a Sunday. And the monk anyway decided that he needed to set up a farm. So he got a bit of land off a farmer. And of course, he had no money to get animals, but he came up with a plan. And he started giving the sermons anyway. And with this plan, I'll tell you now in a minute. And this guy, Francie, anyway, went in. It was raining. I think it was raining one day along the way. And he said, do you know, I'll go into this chapel out of the way, see what the racket is inside there. So he went in anyway. And there was the monk up at the top of the altar, and he was telling them all that he needed farm animals, and whatever you gave him, you got twice in return. And Francie said, this is a great deal altogether. My goodness. And the monk was up there, and he was, oh yes, whatever you give me, your reward will be twice blessed in heaven. And of course, Francie didn't hear any of that, but all he heard was, whatever you get, you'll get back twice. And he was delighted, Francie. Of course, Francie then was married to a woman called Caught the Grip. Now, Caught the Grip was a kind of a cross devil. She was lovely at the same time, but Christ, she'd turn on you. And you'd want to be very careful as she did. So that was all right. And Caught the Grip, anyway, heard about the monk because they had one black heifer. God, she was gorgeous. She was a beautiful black heifer. She was going to turn out to be a great cow. And Francie was saying, would they give the heifer to the monk and they'd be twice blessed? And Caught the Grip said, I don't care. That little heifer is too good to go anywhere. So she used to come in by night and she'd sleep by the fire. And she was very well looked after. And they were really, Caught the Grip was really hoping that they'd put her into calf with a fine, good black bull. And they'd have great calves and milk and the whole lot. But Francie couldn't get away. He was a bit of a gambler. He liked the idea of giving the heifer and getting twice back. God, he said, I don't know. And he'd have rows with Caught going on about it, and Caught would say, no, no, no. Don't believe any man that he'll give you something if you give him something first. And he was saying, I don't know. Then she said, no, don't, no. So anyway, Caught the Grip had to go to town one day. And what did my scamp do? Only put a head collar on the black heifer and took her over to the monk. And he said, "Now, pastor, I'm giving you this black heifer. Oh," he said, thank you ever so much. And I will give you twice in return. Oh, you will get your reward in heaven." Oh, Francie was delighted, twice in return. So he came home anyway, and Cod came home. And she went ballistic. She ate him alive. She tore him apart. She put him into pieces and she put him back in together again so that she could hit him again. But he didn't mind because his investment was made and he was going to get his dividends. So that was all right. He went on for a few weeks and Cod the Grip wouldn't speak because she really liked that heifer and the way the heifer would come in by the fire at night. It was beautiful. It was, "Look at my cradle, the three-headed Deneen." Yes. And that was all right. They were asleep one night and they had an awful thumping and firing around below stairs, and they were up in the loft, of course, and they looked down and there was their fine black heifer back in, sitting down by the fire, and a beautiful black bull with her. "Oh, now," Francie said, "you were doubting me, and look now what we got. We got a fine black heifer and a black bull as well. We're sorted. We have the two, and we'll have calves, and we'll have milk, and we'll have everything." Cod the Grip said, "Well, fair play to you, Francie. I had no idea that that's what was going to happen." And they were all delighted with themselves. And of course, at this stage now, the monk had got geese and he'd got turkeys and he had cattle and he had goats and he had sheep, and he was selling animals and he was still getting donations of animals, and he was selling the produce, of course, and he was able to employ a servant boy and two of them, and he had he got a horse and cart then, and somebody was carting him around the place and everything. So the servant boy was sent over to Francie's and Cod the Grip looking for the cattle back. And Francie said, "What about what cattle back do you want?" He said, "Oh, the monk said you gave him the heifer and she broke free, so he wants the heifer and the bull back." And Cod the Grip said, "Under no circumstances is he getting that heifer back. He might get the bull," because she was hoping that the heifer was bulled anyway by now, "but there's no way that he's getting the heifer." So the servant boy went back and told the monk, and the monk said he'd have to go himself. And the monk headed over anyway, and he said, "Now, you gave me that heifer, so that heifer belongs to me officially. And that bull is definitely mine, so I want the two of them back in my enclosure before the end of the day." And there was no way Cod the Grip flew at him like a cookie, but he was able to hold her back because he had the strength of God. And it went on all day anyway, and they decided there was only one person they could go to, and that was the wise old monk. Sean was his name, a great old druid. They went to the great old druid. Sean was his name, and they came up with this predicament that the monk was saying they'd get their whatever they gave, they'd get twice back. But the monk was telling him then about this place, heaven, and that's where they'd get the reward. They wouldn't get a cow or a beast here on earth, but they'd get it in heaven. And the druid was saying, "Where's this heaven place? Oh, it is fantastic altogether, and they're all up there, all the good people, all the right people, and they have fine cattle and everything like that. And when you go up there, if you've given something to me, you'll get it twice back." All right, the druid was saying, and Cod the Grip was saying, "I don't want to bother, look. I don't want to bother with heaven or earth or anything. I want my heifer, and she's not going anywhere." So the druid had a big think anyway, and he was saying, "Do you know, there's only one thing for it." He said, "Do you know, monk, if you're going to be paying out your reward in heaven, I think that's where you should be getting your cattle in future." So Cod the Grip was able to keep the heifer, and by God, didn't she have twins after that, a bull and a heifer off the monk's bull. And they didn't give much animals to the monk after that, but he found other ways of getting things off the people, don't you worry. Yes, here's Ninja. So there's the story of the first monk in Ballinskelligs and Cod the Grip. Good girl, good girl. And that story wasn't finished by Sean O'Connell, but I just put that in there to finish it up nicely. That's it. Poor Ninja. Ninja's been getting her vitamins as well. Look, she doesn't like the camera. Oh, very good. It's not very nice here. There's a shower going on at the moment. And I'll be switching everybody around now. We'll all be going down there and the other kids will be coming in. But it's kind of good for them just to get a bit of the weather as well. I can see your dog. Oh no, Grover's at home. There'd be too much trucking altogether with Grover. There'd be too much crack. She'll be down another day. Good girl, Ninja. Yes. Dick is up. They're like chickens. But can we? Oh, see your dog. Oh no, the dog is up at home. I left her asleep. She comes down in the morning and she's a whiz around the place. And then she sleeps for a lot of the day. Then she's another, and she's 3 runs altogether. Oh, very good. Oh, it's lovely to hear that. It's lovely. It's been lovely the last couple of days in Portmagee, but today now is a bit showery. Yesterday was horrible showery as well, but the sun was shining, and it's amazing. If the sun wasn't there, it would have been a horrible day. I know that makes sense, but definitely it wouldn't have been that nice. But today there's less sun and more showers. And so one thing I want to talk to you as well, I've been talking about this kind of cultivating wisdom. And one thing I have noticed about life is that you have incredibly fantastic good days and you have incredibly horrible bad days. And all the ways through life, you have really good days and you have really bad days, and really good days and really bad days. And I'm kind of figuring out that the trick in life is to realize that when there's really bad days, to know that there will be good days again. And when there's good days, to know that it's not going to last, there will be bad days. And you start a kind of a curve. And then what I've started figuring out is that you try not to kind of like just sail away right up into the fantastic, great feelings. Always experience them, don't deny them. But don't let yourself go so far up that it's a real thud when you come down. Or don't let yourself sink so far down that it's impossible to come back up again. That you need, I was thinking it's almost kind of like on a bungee, you know, the elastic. That you can go up, of course, enjoy it, but there's something holding you. And you can come back down and things might go bad for a while, but there's something holding you there as well. And I was trying to think, what would that be? What would be the bungee? What would hold you from? And I'm saying not to get, it's like, I'm not trying to say don't be too happy. Be happy, of course, and enjoy the goodness. But understand that there will come a time when that happiness isn't there. Something will snag, something will go, and you'll have to experience the other side as well. And I think that's a kind of a problem some of these gurus make, that they're trying to say that every day is wonderful and positive and better than the next, and you can keep going and striding ahead, and yeah, that's okay, but I don't think it is. I think there's good days and there's bad days, and you have to be ready for both. And you need to keep a level keel. You're never going to have a totally still keel, because their life will come at you, and no matter what happens. But that bungee, what is that thing that keeps you from going too high or too low? And I think for me, I came up, there's a band called Enigma, and they have a wonderful song, and one of the lines in the song is, "The experience of survival is the key." And I think that's it, that the more you go through life, the more you have wonderful, great times and really hard, difficult times. The more you live life and go through these, the more you understand it's almost like not running away with the feelings, almost enjoying those feelings. Because like I got really bad news over the last couple of days on another situation, a life situation. And I was able to kind of go, yeah, this is not exactly what I expected. I thought this would happen. Something else will come along the way, but not And I didn't deny myself feeling disappointed. I didn't deny myself feeling, and I got into a little bit of, it's always happening to me and everybody else has life easy and I don't, and I just want to. But I was still able not to go way down there and just come back up and know that it will turn around, things will get better, and you just keep going on. Even when things get good, you of course go with that, but you know that this is a time as well, this is great, and there's another flip to the coin. And you keep going through life then, and I think that will hopefully really help my mental health now that I understand that there is a rhythm, and you try and keep it some way, rather like you kind of keep it between 5 and 5 rather than 20 and 20, or look go to 7 and 7, but not to go way up or way down, but experience life as well, as I say, and experience the emotions rather than just leaving everything happen. Know that, okay, this is tough, but there will be good times out of this. There will be a celebration. This is a great celebration, but it's going to come to an end at some stage. And this too will pass. And if you see it as in good things and bad things, being aware of changes of mood is good. I think so. I think, and the wisdom builds up. Now, one thing I'm going to have to do at some stage is understand technology better, that I can keep all these lovely chats and comments. I'm not too sure if I can at the moment. Maybe, yeah, you see, I'm just a guy who can press go. But I'll work that out along the way. My little creators here are nicely sleeping. They are. And there'll be more babies. Well, the first week, Ninja was due the first week of April. And there's 2 more goats due the first week of April. So we'll see how that goes. Yes. I want to say a huge big thank you as well to talking about our bad news. I got a lovely card and a gift from a woman called Marguerite, and I'll be answering it. Thank you ever so much. It was just so, it was so nice to get it. It was really, so I hope you're watching, and I hope it was really apt as well. It was something I needed. So just to say thank you for that as well. And a huge thank you to everybody for all the comments and the views and the watching and the sharing. It really, really makes a difference to these weeks. And I've become totally kind of cocooned. I love it now for 2 weeks. I love the teaching. Oh my God, I have news there as well. I love the teaching. I love my classes, but it's great to have a bit of free time because I need to catch up on a lot of other things. I've been teaching. At Christmas, I was asked to do a module on team building and team working with the group. So I decided then if I was going to be leading this good team working, that I had to become a good team leader. And I kind of looked at all the things and what people were saying, and most of the things I would do anyway, but just I had to be very conscious of how to be a very good team leader, so I would have a very good team. So rather than just telling them how to be a good team, I wanted them to experience being in a good team. And one of the things that I've known myself, because I've worked with some crazy people who have been team leaders and just didn't cut the mustard, God help us. But I wanted to give my students freedom. And one of the first day, I remember watching a documentary about wolves many years ago. And I showed them this documentary of this couple who lived with wolves, and they gathered all this knowledge about how the wolf pack works, and the alpha, the beta, the omega, the warriors. And one of the things that struck me was the wolf leader is always at the back, not at the front. So he's watching everything, or she, could be a she as well, watching everything. And they have the older group at the front, so they set the pace. But then if there's an attack, the older ones will go first, which, as I get older, all the good things don't keep going on. And but one thing that I wanted to do with the team was to give them a lot of freedom, because I did work in this crazy group at one stage, and the team leader wouldn't let anybody do anything unless she had her pause on it, no matter what it was. If it was posting a letter, she'd have to tell you how to post the letter and what box to do it. And I found it very, very incapacitating. It really just stymied everybody, you know. So I wanted to give my group work and our freedom to do their work. So one guy wrote to the people that did the documentary about working with wolves and see would they give a talk to the group, and they've come back saying that they're interested and we're in negotiations now, and it really is lovely, and it was great sense of achievement for that person in the group, for the team, and for me as team leader, being able to step back and have that graciousness of letting people do things and see how it goes, and he answers them back. So he's kind of more in negotiations than I am with them, and I think that's a really good thing as a leader, rather than constantly being, you know, you have to trust people, you have to try. And I think having a herd of goats helps being a team leader as well, for sure. So that's nearly it. Thank you ever so much. Yarn in the barn next week again. We might have more babies, but we've some lovely babies here as well. They're all I love the little triskel they make when they sleep. Yeah, it's just so lovely. And as I say, next week is Easter week. I wonder now, Bridget, can I get that later? I'm going to try to see what you sent there about ETB and stuff like that, because I'll have a check. But what was I going to say for next Saturday? There was something I was going to say for next Saturday. Gone out of my mind. If it's not four legs and looking for food, I just don't know about it. Have a great week, everybody. I'll be here in the mornings and be chatting about different things. We'll see how things are going. It's great. It's great to see Jessie chewing the cud. I don't know if you can see her. As I say, she's still not 100%, but at least her system is working, and that's the main thing. I'll try it with some water now. I almost feel there's something I'm missing out on. There's not at all, Bridget, not at all. Sure, I'm fine out. I go this way and that way and the other way, just fine out. But with Jessie, I'm thinking there's something for her tummy just to get it. Actually, I had it going last year and I gave it to one or two of the goats and it really worked well, and I have to get it going again, is kefir. I made kefir from the goat's milk, and I was able to put it back into the goats if they were kind of trouble with the tummy, and it really did good. So I must try, but again, that's no good to me in the middle of the day, said the one. So we must try it, but at least she's chewing the cud and coming around. Have a great week, everybody. As I say, I'll be here in the mornings around 8:20. It was a bit hectic last week. There was 2 mornings I was but I'm getting up early now. I'm getting up at 5, and that makes it easier. I'm just able for the morning because there's 3 or 4 goats milking now, and I'm watching feeding the kids. Now Jessie is sick, so she needs her medicine as well. So there's 3 goats milking, and Jessie getting her medicine, Ninja getting her tonic, the kids getting their milk, so it's all go. So next week I'll have Grover down here as well, and we can say a big hello to her as well, because she is beautiful, she is fantastic, and she's getting more and more in tandem with me. She kind of knows what's going on. So there's so much more actually. I must start we're going to have like introducing a goat once a week and stuff as well, and I haven't done that. But talking about me, where would you be got? So have a lovely week everybody, and we'll talk to you very soon. Slán in ish. Slán.